Hey guys, Pastor Maldonado back at it once again with a brand new video for you, and welcome to something a little bit different. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why am I not live commentating this career mode video? Basically, I kind of messed up. Believe it or not, what I did was I recorded a video and I forgot to turn my microphone on, and I didn't realise this until after I stopped recording. Herpaderp. So yeah, I kind of messed up on that one, and to be honest, I wasn't very proud of this video anyway, mainly because gameplay wise I was shambolic. Once again, the tire wear on the first stint caught me out completely, and I suffered for it badly, and I went out one lap too long, so it just ultimately turned out pretty bad. But I thought, what can I do to get around this one? I remember I had a channel update on my channel a little while ago, celebrating 4,000 subscribers. It was just over a month ago, and you guys left me a bunch of questions, and I never got around to answering them until now. So basically, this is me playing catch up and using a half-an-hour long Formula 1 video to answer some of your questions. I didn't use all of them because some of them I just didn't feel are relevant now, and some of them I've already kind of answered in previous, in more recent videos, I should say. I didn't really feel like repeating myself. But if you put a question, there's probably about a 95% chance I've got it on this list. For those guys that left questions on Facebook, I apologise. The status is probably too far deep for me to find, and I'll be doing more of these in the future anyway, so don't worry about it too much. Anywho, without further ado, let's get down to business. Right, I've got half an hour to get through these, so let's see what we can do. Okay, first up, the BPG13 asks, oh, by the way, before I start, if I pronounce any of your names wrong, I do apologise, it's an accident. I've got dyspraxia, this thing's going to be difficult sometimes. The BPG13 asks, would you do a big YouTube meetup event with other Formula 1 YouTubers at some point, and if so, who would you invite YouTube-wise? Believe it or not, this has already happened. Last year's Eurogamer, a ton of us F1 folk came down together for Eurogamer, and we had a blast. Some of the guys that came down, Arava, Tom Stanley, the F1 Racing Mad, X-Maddie G, Jody Mills, who else was down there? Scott Woodwiss, aka Rapid Scorpion, Ryan Littlemore, Afnino. So yeah, it's kind of already happened, believe it or not, to a large degree. Like I said, Arav is a local guy. He's just about 10 minutes away from me across Greenford. So I've met him 3 times now. So it's one of those things where, you know, having people locally is a nice boost. It's a shame I never met Noble. I would have liked to have met Noble. I would have liked to have met Athlete, obviously, because obviously he's American, so that's a bit more difficult in the first place. Obviously Tiamat Marduk I'd like to meet as well, because he's a top bloke from Australia, and a couple of other people as well. So yeah, it wasn't quite everybody, but I was already pretty cool to say that I've already met most of the F1 community, which is pretty sweet. Ben Dyer asks, who do you think will main event WrestleMania in a couple of years' time? Roman Reigns, I think, is a pretty obvious one. I mean, I think he broke Kane's record of 12 eliminations in a single Rumble. They don't just give that to anybody. They were trying to get Roman Reigns over as a beast, which he is. He actually spears people properly, unlike certain other wrestlers that you've used to spear in the past. Edge. Him and his running hug. But I think Roman Reigns, quite frankly, any members of the Shield, quite frankly, could main event a Mania very soon. You can chalk CM Punk off that list now he's gone. I'm trying to think of anybody else. Maybe Damien Sandow, if he gets another push somewhere along the line. I mean, Damien Sandow is a very talented performer. Maybe Sami Zayn and Antonio Cesaro as well. Two incredibly talented guys. They've done some brilliant work on NXT. And I'm pretty darn sure they'll be on the roster before they'll be main eventing the Mania at some point as well, because those two are very special talents. Okay, Bradders F1 asks, do you think that the legendary trio of Lallana, Rodriguez and Lambert will go to the World Cup? Yeah, the Southampton trio of offensive talent there. Bradders is a Southampton fan, so no wonder he used the word legendary to describe them. Lallana definitely will. Lambert might. Rodriguez might. I don't know on that one. Lallana definitely will, because we haven't got very many good left-sided players. And Adam Lallana is quite special because he's one of the very few creative players that England actually has. England is a football nation of bruisers and guys, the kind of football players that will punch you in the jaw and shoot from distance, rather than guys that are genuinely creative, natural players like that. And Adam Lallana is one of those dudes. So I'm sure he'll get on the plane. Lambert, there's a bit of a logjam for England strikers. I mean, Rooney will get on the plane for sure. So will Sturridge if he's healthy. Then it gets a bit interesting. Do you take Peter Crouch? Do you take Danny Welbeck? Because Welbeck's been consistently quite good for England for a long time, even though he's not played a lot this season. Do you take Lambert, who's had 2 solid seasons? Do you take Jermaine Defoe, who's again been a perennial decent striker for England? There's a lot of names, and you know, Rodriguez and Lambert might struggle to get in from that aspect. I'd like to see Rodriguez and Lambert go, because I'd like to see different talent get in for a change. Oh, and Luke Shaw definitely will get in this time as well. I think Ashley Cole is finished, but you know, he might get taken for experience, but you shouldn't be taking 3 left backs to the World Cup at all. So I'm not sure that one will turn out. We'll have to wait and see. Mike D, awesome guy, asks, which racing game title do you feel has been the most influential in the genre since you've been playing? Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd have to say Gran Turismo 3 on the PlayStation 2. In my lifetime of playing racing games, I think GT3 set the standard for the PS2 era, and I think that's a standard that's never been replicated, except by Sony themselves with Gran Turismo 4, which was basically GT3 with a lot of polish. GT4 being the first high-definition PS2 game was a huge step forward for gaming, so you could possibly argue that GT4 might be even more influential than GT3, but I think 3 set the standard for what a great simulated racing game is, something that the companies like Forza are trying to replicate now, as well as other projects like, you know, Project Cars, R-Factor, Assetto Corsa, etc. They all came from great simulators like the Gran Turismo franchise, which set the standard for that back in 2001, which I don't think has been replicated since. So if I had to pick one, I would say Gran Turismo 3. You could argue the same with Gran Turismo 2, to be honest, on the PlayStation 1 even, which was another brilliant racing game. See, I'd go with that. AOR Cos asks, what are your opinions on the sound of the new V6 F1 engines? Do you like or dislike them, and why? I don't mind them, per se, the V6 engines, but I feel like they're too quiet. I really do. I gave them every possible chance to convince me on this in Australia. The onboards were pretty good for them. So when you're close enough, they sound pretty nice with the turbo hiss and everything. Whew, pardon me. I just woke up, so pardon me on that one. But yeah, I mean, when they put them all together in a pack for a race start, it didn't sound particularly pleasant. Which is just a shame, really. And they're kind of quiet, which is also, you know, it's kind of flat. Like, Formula 1 is known for its noise, so, you know, more noise, you know, that kind of thing. Kind of disappointing, really. Charlie Price asks, what was your secondary school experience like? And he actually asked me 2 questions, which is a bit naughty, but I let him get away with it. He said, do you think the backmarkers will be more competitive this season? Secondary school was kind of meh for me overall, really. I got the grades in the end after a bit of a slog more than anything else. I was naturally, I think, quite smart, but I never put the effort in when it came to studying. Like, I always thought my natural talent would get me over the line, which it didn't really. And by the time I realised that, it was kind of too late. You know what they say, right? About, hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. That was me. And I'll be the first guy to admit I kind of botched that. And I could have been so much more than what I actually was. I got away with it in the end because I went to a uni which wasn't particularly good. And I got a chance to start over. But, yeah, the bullying didn't help in high school either, to be honest. It wasn't very pleasant, but it made me a video maker, so it made me the person I am today. So I'm not regretful. If anything, I'm kind of grateful for that experience because it made me a better person. The back markers, probably not. They won't be competitive this year. I mean, Caterham look awful at the moment, and Mauritius look better, but Mauritius are showing no signs of getting in the points. I don't think the reliability of these cars has been as bad as many people predicted. So even the odds of Mauritius getting a point or two from the rest of the field struggling probably isn't going to happen either. But yeah. Next, Kwame Bamfo asks, what do you think about Seattle within the Super Bowl? How many subscribers do you think you'll get at the end of the year? Also, I know Harrison Whitworth asked me how many do I think I should have, and how many do I think I'll get by the end of the year. Seattle within the Super Bowl was... I'm not a big Seattle fan. Richard Sherman, I think, is a bit of a mouthy prick, but he's a great entertainer. I'll give him that much. He's good for the sport. But Seattle's defense was insane. They were absolutely stunning for the whole... I know a lot of people tuned in just to see the Super Bowl, but for those that watched the entire regular season, Seattle were monsters. They really were. Defensively, they were absolutely brilliant. The Legion of Boom was outstanding, and I'm glad Malcolm Smith was Super Bowl MVP because I think he kind of represented the whole defense. And it's nice to see a defensive player get MVP for a change, because people were saying, oh, it's Percy Harvin because he had that one big return when the game was already close to being dead anyway. So I think Malcolm Smith was a great pick for MVP, and I think Seattle were the best team. Absolutely, no question. The NFC is a stronger conference than the AFC anyway, so the best team from the NFC probably would have won the whole thing anyway. I don't think that Denver would have beaten San Francisco either. That's my opinion. Subscribers, I'd liked my target was 7,500 by the end of the year. I think it'll probably be more like 5.5 to 6. I think growth-wise, I'm struggling compared to some other guys like Arava and Noble and Tiamat Marduk and some other people like that. I don't know why, to be honest with you. It's just my growth has been a little bit slow in recent weeks. I'd like to see it grow. I might have to use SGU as a resource a little bit more often. I think that'd be pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel on it at the moment. I really don't know what's going on besides that. Philippe44 asks, who do you see being the best football player in the world in 3 to 4 years' time? Neymar, I would say. I think he's got the tools to be the next in line. He plays for a team that enhances his stats. I think Neymar is a perfect fit for that Barcelona system, and I think he's got the most natural talent of any player to hit the sport since Lionel Messi and Ronaldo. If not him, maybe Gareth Bale under the Real Madrid system. After Ronaldo decides to hang it up and move on, he'll be 33, 34 by that point, and Bale will be entering his prime at 28, 29. So maybe Gareth Bale could be up there as well. But I think Neymar is a very special talent, and I think he's another one of those amazing Brazilian talents we get maybe once every 10 years that will set the sport on fire. And I really hope he does. I'm a huge fan of his. Nathan Green asks, your favourite F1 tracks ever / currently? Ever, I would say Imola is probably up there for me. I really enjoyed Imola. I'd like to see them come back now it's been renovated. I think it's an even better track now they got rid of that last chicane. I'd like to see them come back to Imola. That would be pretty sweet. trying to think what else that I really enjoy. I like Jerez a lot as a MotoGP track as well as a Formula 1 track. Monza, Silverstone, the Nürburgring, the more recent one, not the Nordschleife. Anyone else? I'm trying to think. Let me think here. I like Malaysia quite a lot as well, actually, believe it or not. I've always been a big fan of Sepang. Always produces good races. So yeah, that's probably some of them. I've had to pick a few. Old school Hockenheim was pretty sick as well. Going through the forest, I think that was pretty awesome. Let's have a look. Dre, who do you think will win the MotoGP, Moto2 and Moto3 titles in 2014? And that's from Donovan. Top class, I reckon Marc Marquez will retain. I think Marquez and Honda have the slight edge over Jorge Lorenzo and Yamaha. I think Honda developed better over the course of a season. The issue is now is that engine development has been frozen for 2014 because of the new rules, which I'll talk about on Dre TV later in the week. Which it's a bit of a clusterfuck, and it's something that's very interesting because Ducati entering as an open class runner, I think, has caused a lot of anger and a lot of grief amongst people in the sport. So I'll talk about that down the line, but I think Marquez, will do very well. I think it's a little bit better than Lorenzo. Oof. I'm doing it again. God, that's terrible. No, I'm sorry, folks. That's pretty bad of me. Moto2, the Mark VDS team looked very strong in testing. And I think the new Pons guys in Vinales and Salom are good, but I don't think they're good enough to win yet. So I would go with the experience in Tito Rabat to win the Moto2 title this season. I think he's a very, very good rider, and I think this will be his big chance to be up to the top class, even though he's a bit of a late bloomer in terms of age in today's modern Formula and on today's young MotoGP riders, which are all very, very young. They're getting younger by the year. Obviously we see Marquez win the world title at 20. We have guys like Ana Carrasco and Maverick Vinales who are like 16, 17, 18 years old now, climbing up the ranks already. It's crazy. Moto3, I would say either Alex Rins or Jack Miller. I think Jack Miller is a very good talent, the Aussie. Alex Rins was about 3 bike lengths away from winning the world title last year. I'd say those are the top two. I think Alex Marquez might get up there, but I think Marquez isn't as good as Rins yet. The scariest part is that Alex Marquez won a Grand Prix quicker than Mark did. Now there's a thought. Mr. Miz Nation, if you could drive any Formula 1 car from any year, which year would it be, and what track would you drive it around? Great question. Senna's McLaren would be up there for me. I'm not sure which year it was, but maybe the 92 version, the year of my birth. Maybe around Imola as a tribute to him would be quite nice. Maybe around Hockenheim again, around the forests. That'd be pretty nice. Monaco, because he was king at Monaco, Senna. Maybe Brazil as well. If it wasn't something more in the past, I'd probably say something like maybe. Let me think here. The Ferrari where Schumacher was dominant in, I think it was 2002 or 2004. Can't remember which one, but that Ferrari was ridiculous. I idolised that car growing up. I had it as a giant poster on my bedroom wall, so probably that one as well. Toby Jones asks, why is your channel Harrison 101 and not just Harrison? Because the number's been quite special to me over the years. It's just something I invented when I was like, 15. I've had that nickname. It's quite a good one. I like it. I've always liked it because 101 is something you associate with rules. Like for example, this is Quantum Physics 101, and I like the number. I just slapped it next to my surname, and it's just worked for me ever since. I don't think just having Harrison sounds as nice, but you guys seem to call me that anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much, I would say. But I've always liked that username. I just have, and it's just kind of stuck with me for a long time. I think about 6 years now, I would say, I've had that username, and it's just been good to me, I guess. What is your biggest achievement on your channel? From James Lewis. Ooh, that's a good one. Not sure. Maybe hitting the 4,000 was quite nice. I'd also say getting 100,000 views on a single video is quite an achievement as well. It was the video where I talked about Grosjean's retirement in Spa 2012, and why I didn't think it was completely Grosjean's fault, and I got buried in the comments for it, but people watched it. Gotta say, it got 100,000 views, so I'm kind of guilty about that because I used a misleading thumbnail. I used the thumbnail that had the picture of the crash rather than me using video game footage to talk about it, and it was kind of misleading. It's a trick that a lot of people who do race reviews do now, and I'm not proud of that, which is why I've stopped doing it. I stopped doing race reviews immediately after a race had finished, like a lot of people do on YouTube, because I think it's quite a cheap way of gathering views. And I think ethically, I don't think it's something I really agree with anymore. And we'll have to wait and see how that one rolls out, because I'm gonna be doing race reviews for Dre TV instead. So yeah, that'll be a thing. If I had to pick between the two, probably hitting the 4K was pretty sweet. Dragon Type Man asks, who do you support in the Premier League? Manchester United is the answer to that one, unfortunately. It's not been a particularly good year, to be honest, and that's probably me putting it mildly. It's been a bit of a rebuilding year, a transitional period, so to speak. David Moyes has not been brilliant, but the players clearly don't want to play for him. I think spending £65 million on players which didn't really fit our team didn't help either. I mean, Mata was a good signing, but Mata playing right mid is not a good idea. Playing a flat 4-4-2 is not a good idea. It's just been a bit of a mess, really, in all honesty. And David Moyes looks like a guy who clearly has no plan B. And, the end of the season can't come any faster. It really can't. Hopefully, the Glazers give David Moyes a lot of money to try and rebuild this team, because I think it's still got the stench of Fergie around it. And I think maybe getting rid of Fergie's backroom staff probably wasn't the best idea either. Because those guys know what they're doing, and they have a good relationship with the players, and I think maybe that was a bad idea as well. But something needs to happen, and fast. Otherwise, Moyes is gonna look like an embarrassment, and he's probably gonna end up moving along. I don't think even he realised that the magnitude of the task he had at hand more than anything else. I don't think he realised what was going on. How deep this would run. Kawayuri 28 asks 3 GT6 related questions. Are you thinking of starting your own racing league or in any other game? Any chance of a subscriber-only online racer? And would you prefer a catering to win Australia with the weird design over another win from Red Bull? Okay, let's start here. One, I probably wouldn't start a league because I'm not a league racer at all. I find the concept of league racing bland on a game which is clearly flawed. Like for Formula 2013, for example, online is terrible, so I'm not going to start a league on there or join a league on there with all those issues that still need to be ironed out. A subscriber-only online racer is feasible. I'm definitely down for that. I'll probably will do that later in the year for sure. And would you prefer a Caterham to win Australia over Red Bull? No. I'm being straight up here. I mean, no. I'd like to see Caterham score some points, but actually winning a race, yeah, that could be That could be quite the thing. Let's see if any else of these I missed. I missed Richard Evans asking as well, who do you think will be the top 2 in the constructors, and what has been your highlight of the Winter Olympic Games? Top 2, I reckon, will be Mercedes and Red Bull. I think Red Bull will come back. I think they've just had a bit of a bad start, and I think that they'll bounce back. And Mercedes have had the strongest team right out of the box, so I think those 2 will be the strongest. Winter Olympic highlights, I would say Lizzie Arnold, obviously winning gold in the skeleton, was pretty awesome. She's a lovely, lovely girl, and very attractive, and just generally, you know, very cool girl, and you know, we seem to have a knack of being the best in the world at sliding down a giant hill in a tea tray, which is pretty cool, I suppose. If I had to pick another one, I'd say the ladies' gold medal game in the ice hockey between Canada and America was pretty sick. The way it ended was pretty friggin' crazy. That was another great highlight for me. And another highlight has to be Ed Lee's commentary. Ed Lee for the BBC was bloody fantastic as a commentator. I wasn't proud of the other 2 guys in the commentary booth during the first event. That was like, that I think they were cheering when other people dropped. When Jenny Jones won the bronze, I think it was in the snowboard slope style. I think it was where the other 2 commentators started cheering when other people went down. I think Ed Lee didn't do that, but I think the other 2 did, and I think it kind of made him look worse, which I don't think was truly his fault. But he was so brilliant commentating, he had such natural enthusiasm and charisma, and you know, a whole heap of Partridge references thrown in there as well, which I thought was hilarious. So another one of my little minor highlights there as well. Seeing if there's anything I missed here. I don't think. Oh yeah, I did miss one actually. Missed a couple actually. Jack McKeever asks, Dre, what is your philosophy on life? If I had to say, it would probably be just take every day as it comes and make the best of it, I would say, because, you know, in life you'll have setbacks. It's inevitable. You know, you'll have setbacks in life. You'll have things that will put you forward and things that will take you back. So I would say just take every day as it comes. Take every day as a new challenge, and you know, just see what you can do for yourself more than anything else. I've had some pretty good things happen to me in my life, and I've had some pretty bad things happen to me as well. But you know, get your head down, work hard, and just take every day as it comes, and you know, see if you can make the best of it for yourself. When my sister was diagnosed with leukemia, I had to take every day as it comes, and you know, because I didn't know whether my sister would see tomorrow or not. So at some points, it was a struggle. But it was a beautiful struggle, and that's what life's all about. Life is a beautiful struggle, so always try and make the best of it, I would say. If that's the best advice I can give you on that one. And I think that's about it. Aaron Davidson saying Android, Windows, or iPhone. iPhone, I would say. Sad Sammy asking, can I talk to you on Skype? Feel free to add me. Harrison_101 if you guys want to add me on Skype. Lewis saying, have you played Flappy Bird? No, I never did actually. But yeah, that's about it. So I just want to say thanks to everybody who's been watching. Hope you guys appreciated the video, even though I know it wasn't my best by any stretch of the imagination. And I hope you guys somewhat enjoyed this little catch-up video, and you know, maybe you guys learned a little bit more about me in the process. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Harrison101. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Sayonara.